Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of the Keptn Developer and Community Meeting. Today it's April 29th with perfect sunny weather here in Central Europe. Yeah, we have a couple of things for today, so I'm really excited on the agenda that we have. And yeah, it's a CNCF project meeting, so we're following the CNCF code of conduct here, so that means please be nice to each other as always. Yeah, first please also add your names to the attendee list if you're joining this, and I will also put the link to this document into the chat just in a minute. So let us get started. We have started a new newsletter format. Just last week, I think we sent out the first edition of the new newsletter. So make sure to also sign up for the newsletter. It will have all the latest updates on new releases, on new developments around Keptn, on new ecosystem integration. So it's a great way to keep up to date with the project, and it will be sent out bi-weekly. So won't be spamming your inboxes. It will be a bi-weekly update on the project, and you can sign up here. And the first edition was already sent out on Monday. The next one will come on Monday in a week, so after KubeCon actually. And this is also already the next agenda point. KubeCon 2021 virtual edition virtually in Europe. This edition will take place from next week, from Tuesday to Friday, and there is even a presentation and a talk on Keptn and the Litmus chaos. It is all around how to evaluate the resilience of applications by using Keptn as the orchestrator of the deployment, load tests, chaos tests, evaluations, and giving you, basically with our SLO evaluations, giving you a resilience score, if you want to say. And you will find all the information for KubeCon on the dedicated landing page on keptn.sh. And if there's anything that you're missing, just let us know. If there is anything you want to learn more about the project, or if you're not attending KubeCon but still want to get in touch with the maintainers, please also join us in these office hours. We have 2 sessions dedicated to our Keptn project. The one is on Wednesday around noon, and the other one is Friday morning. It's a great way to get in touch with some of the maintainers, and it's also a great way to get in touch with some of our Keptn adopters. So there will be always some maintainers and also adopters of Keptn joining these sessions, and you can ask all the questions that come to your mind all around the Keptn project. Yeah, for the next part, if there are any questions, just put them in the chat, and I will make sure to address them also. But I will just go through the first parts of the agenda rather quickly. For the next part, we are looking for a new code owner of a service that we have in the Keptn contrib organization. It's our notification service, and it's basically our integration with Microsoft Teams, with Slack, and with WebEx. The whole purpose of the service is that you can subscribe to different kinds of events that are sent from Keptn, and these events will then be pushed directly into your Slack workspace or into your Microsoft Teams workspace and channels. So if you are, if you want to help out within the Keptn project, and if you think that's interesting, so we are looking actively for a new owner of this Keptn contrib repository. Currently, it's not working with the latest version of Keptn, so the first task would be to kind of update it to support the latest version of Keptn. If you think this is something that might fit your skill set, just let us know and join our Keptn Slack, and let us know that you want to kind of take ownership, or at least maybe do a contribution on the service. That would be highly appreciated. Then from last week, we did not go into any detail. I just want to have these links here. There's a new blog written by Andy on automated performance resilience testing with Neodis. Neoload is actually the software, and this was given at their Neodis PAC event. The presentation was given there, and so they followed up also with a blog on this. It's really cool. Make sure to check it out. And if you want to have some more hands-on training and feeling on Keptn, then we've also published last week a new tutorial. It even has a video included on how to do Keptn quality gates with Prometheus. It comes with a demo application. It's the CNCF potato head application. So it will give you a Keptn on K3S. Everything comes with you just have to bring a VM, and then you install Keptn on K3S. It will install and set up the demo application. It will even run the first quality gate. So it's really a 5-minute installation, and you already have the first quality gate evaluation with Prometheus. And it's really a nice start into learning how Keptn works. Some updates from the ecosystem. So just yesterday, I think our friends from Artillery released an initial version on their Artillery integration. Artillery is a performance testing framework, and you can now use Keptn with Artillery, and Keptn will trigger Artillery tests. You will find a README and a description how to use it in their repository in the Keptn sandbox. So if you're already using Artillery, or you want to get started with performance tests but don't want to use JMeter anymore, then Artillery is really a great start here. So make sure to check it out.
Quick question regarding that, maybe you can answer. Does Artillery require an external service to be installed in addition to the Artillery service, or is it similar to JMeter, just a single container that's running?
So as far as I've seen, it's just a single container, and the load tests are described as YAML files. So it's not XML hell anymore. Now it's a YAML, and it's way easier. It's very similar to Locust, I guess. But what I've seen, everything comes within the container. To be honest, I have not yet tried it out myself. It was just released, I think, yesterday, and they stated as a very initial version. So there will be more coming. But if you're already interested in checking it out, it's not, as far as I've seen, you don't have to create an account. You don't have to install any other software. You can just use it as they are providing the service integration.
Nice, thanks.
Maybe that would be worth for replacement for JMeter.
Yes, so actually we have two candidates because we have already a Locust integration, and it works very similar. The Locust binary is included in the container, and you can define here the performance tests as Python files, and they will then be executed by the Locust binary. And here, I would say we have made a little bit more progress already, because this service already now supports configuration files, both a configuration file that is very, very similar to the JMeter conf that we already have in the Keptn project, where you basically map a testing strategy to the performance test that has to be executed. And it also supports the native Locust config files. So Locust also comes with some kind of configuration files, and this is also now supported. So that's really great to see here also contributions from the Keptn community. And we also know that the Locust service is already used in production at some of the Keptn adopters. So I think this one is a little bit more mature as the Artillery service, but please give both services a try, and then we could decide which one should go like as the first replacement of the JMeter service. I think that's already due, that we kind of deprecate JMeter and then maybe use some other performance testing service. Maybe we can discuss in the next meetings what is the preference, which service we want to use, if it's more Locust or if it's more Artillery, and then we can give it a little push and write our tests for these integrations. Has anyone already tried one of those integrations, like Artillery or Locust? Not yet. But yeah, if you give it a try, let us know, maybe in the Keptn Slack or in one of the next community meetings, and we can gather the feedback and then also maybe bring it back to the community, so the community contributions can consider this and improve their services. So with this, I think these are the most important updates currently from the ecosystem. There is more going on, which is not yet released, like the AWS FIS integration and the work on the integration of the one chart from the Gimlet project. But I think this is more to be shared in the next meetings. Are there any questions on the topics and the points that I addressed here in the first part of the meeting? If not, I want to hand over to Bernd, and I'm really curious to see the GitHub action of Keptn, how we can use it. So handing over to you, Bernd.
Thanks. Okay, during the Keptn development, we had the need to kick off a Keptn event during the build pipeline, and there was the idea to create actually a GitHub action which is capable of sending such events to a already existing Keptn installation. And I can quickly show you today how this looks like. It's the very first version of this GitHub action, but it's already quite useful, and I can show you how you can use it. What you can see here is on the right side Keptn installation on my side. It has a really simple setup, only one stage called dev, and there's also only one service, the already well-known CardsDB, MongoDB service, of course. And yeah, there were already a couple of events fired into this Keptn installation. And you can see here, for example, I already delivered an artifact for the MongoDB or CardsDB service here using the GitHub action, and I can replicate this now and show you how you can set it up to actually send any kind of event you would like to send to the Keptn installation from within a GitHub action or a GitHub workflow. Yes, so this is the repository of the GitHub action. So the source code of this GitHub action to send events to Keptn. We can take a quick look at the parameters. It's really simple. It only requires you to set 3 mandatory parameters. The first one is of course the Keptn API URL, which usually looks like this. Of course, your URL with the path API v1 event. The second one is the Keptn API token. This needs to be a valid token for your Keptn installation. Oops. And the third one is, of course, the event you want to send. Right now, the Keptn send event GitHub action is quite flexible, so there is really no restriction what you can send and what not. And I will just go now to my private repository here, where I have set up a repository called Keptn send event GitHub action demo, and I will use this repository to configure a workflow which is using the Keptn send event action to send an event to this Keptn installation on the right here, and the event will be to trigger the CardsDB deployment on my system. So I've prepared here. So you see this repository is pretty empty. It just has this .github/workflows folder. As you know, when you want to create a GitHub workflow using GitHub Actions, you need to follow this convention to create this folder, and there inside of it you describe your workflows using YAML files. So this I already prepared here, and let's take a look what we have in here. So right now it's really simple. You know, you can specify when you want to trigger your workflow using the on field here. Here I've just chosen to trigger this whole workflow on every push on regardless what branch. And this will actually trigger then the workflow when I do a git commit and git push to this repository. If we look here, we have the jobs section, and I've called it send Keptn event, and there you have our Keptn send event GitHub action, which looks right now like this. It has an ID. Here's the reference to the GitHub action, and you can specify with the with parameter what kind of arguments you want to pass into the GitHub action. As we saw earlier, it needs to be Keptn URL and Keptn API token. If you would to push now something to this repository, it would of course fail like it did a couple of minutes ago. It should have been said that I have forgot to put an event to this workflow which I want to send to my Keptn installation. So I now need to decide which kind of event I want to send. Yeah, as I said already, I want to again send trigger delivery event to the Keptn installation to trigger my deployment of cards.db. You can go to your Keptn installation, take a look at already existing events, copy it out here. If you don't have events already, you can, for example, go to the Keptn spec, and you need then to figure out which event you need to send to fulfill your use case. For now, I will just replicate this one. I know this is a Keptn event which will trigger the sequence delivery direct, which is responsible in my setup to actually deploy the cards.db service. So let's copy this section out here and go to the GitHub action on my private repository. I think it's over. Yes, we don't need to use Git right now. We can just edit the file directly here in GitHub, and it will allow us to do a commit from here. But of course, usually you do it from your local environment where you use Git to commit and push to your repository. Okay, so the third parameter was missing, and the third parameter, like we saw in the documentation, is of course event. And using this, you can specify really any Keptn event you want to send. There's no restriction right now because we don't have the need to restrict anything. I think the syntax for doing multi-line strings in YAML is like this, and let's just put here, oops, no, our event. And right now, to have a valid syntax here, we need to put it a couple of indentations to the right. So this would be actually the first improvement I could imagine, so that you can actually also specify your event in files which are read by the GitHub action. Then you don't have to fiddle around here inline with this format and so on. Yeah, right now it only supports events which you put directly here, but that would be a next step if we need it, or if someone want to improve the GitHub action, feel free to just file a pull request. Okay, we have here our event, just directly copied from the Keptn installation. What's important is usually we already had here a Keptn context. We will just delete it because the event will actually get a new Keptn context from the Keptn API, of course, and we don't want to interfere with other events which already had this Keptn context. So keep this in mind. That usually you don't want to have a context here. Keptn will create or generate a new one. There might be use cases where you would like to use an existing Keptn context, but in my case, I want to use a fresh workflow, so to say, using a new fresh Keptn context generated by Keptn. Okay, that's the first thing. Same argument goes for the ID. It will be chosen by or generated by Keptn API, and I also get rid of the time, of course, because it's not the right timestamp. I've copied from an already sent event. Okay, that's basically it. It's just a regular Keptn, event, and maybe.
Bert, can I ask a question here?
Yes.
So the uses part here on the send Keptn event, that has to be Keptn / GitHub action send event at main. So this is basically referring to the GitHub action that Keptn is providing. And
yes,
the
exactly.
ID, has it also be send Keptn event, or the ID can be chosen by the user?
I think the IDs can be chosen by the user, if I'm correctly. Yes, I think.
Yeah, it's by the user.
By the user. And
okay.
Maybe when we do releases of this Keptn send event action, you would have a version here at the end and not main. Right now it's just main because we don't have a release for that. Okay, that's basically it. Let's commit these changes I've just made here directly in GitHub. We'll do a commit here. And with this, because we have here the trigger push, we should already see here the workflow starting. Yes, it's starting here. And we can take a look. Takes a couple of seconds until GitHub action is preparing everything. Yeah, goes rather quickly, and here it gives you an overview actually what you've sent. It's just this event, of course, and it also spits out which Keptn context was generated by the API. And if we are lucky, we should now see here, I think it was already this one, was it? Started today, 70. Yes, it was here from the time I can see 1723. Now it's 1724. So it was exactly this delivery here, which was kicked off by a GitHub action. So this is, I think, quite useful. You can imagine you have your own repository here, and I don't know, someone commits a special file or content to your repository and you want to react to it, kick off something on your Keptn installation and so on. You can easily do this via this action here, and you basically just have to know what event you want to send, and that's it. You don't have to fiddle around with doing the HTTP request manually. So that's basically done by the Keptn action. And yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Like. Of course, this is only the minimal version, I would say. There are plenty of room of improvements, of course. Just post your ideas or file any pull request to this GitHub send event action. I think this could be improved in any way. Right now we have, I would say, a minimal version, which is already quite useful and can be used for such use cases where you want to kick off anything on your Keptn installation when anything happens on your Git repository.
I think as a use case that you didn't mention yet, you could also just have your Git repository, like your Keptn config repository, where you have your Helm charts. And when you push changes to those Helm charts, you could trigger a delivery. same as what you do with the CLI, but you do it automatically. So this would be the counterpart to the Keptn GitOps operator that Thomas and I think Dieter have shown a couple of weeks ago.
For example, yeah. So you just have to give room to your creativity, and you can basically then do cool things with it. Couple of words here to the Keptn API URL and Keptn API token. Usually just keep an eye on not storing such information directly here anywhere, but I think it's more or less, not 100%, but more or less secure to keep it as a GitHub secret, where these two sensitive information are secured by GitHub and not visible to anyone who will do then weird things with it, maybe. Yeah.
Pretty cool. I think it's pretty useful. First, for the use case that Christian already mentioned, that if someone changes or updates any configuration in the Git manage repo of Keptn, to then trigger a new delivery or trigger a new sequence. And what's also really cool is that it actually gives you back the Keptn context of the newly generated event, because if you might need it for some subsequent actions, I guess this is part of the GitHub actions that you can pick it up and then maybe use it in the next action already. If you want to log it somewhere, or if you want to maybe trigger even a second event, and then you can send it directly from the same GitHub workflow. You can even send a second event, and you can connect it to the Keptn context of the previous. So that's pretty cool.
Yes, exactly. You can continue working with this idea, of course, to do more useful stuff using other actions and so on.
Cool. Are there any questions from the community to Bernd on this integration? Okay, so I really think I really like it. I think it's really powerful, although because you can give it just the payload of a Keptn event without the Keptn context, without the time, and without the ID, and it just sends it to Keptn and triggers a whole delivery sequence. Pretty cool. Yeah, thanks for demoing this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Let me just have a look at the agenda, but I think so. Focusing on contributions around the core project, I think we are good for today. We talked about the artillery service, the local service, and right now just the GitHub action, where you can send arbitrary Keptn events within GitHub workflows to your Keptn installation. So make sure to check it out and let us know in the Keptn Slack what you built with the GitHub action. And I think with this, we are basically through the agenda and through all the points we wanted to discuss for today. So we can close it a little bit earlier. Thanks everyone for joining, and hopefully see all of you also next week at KubeCon and in the next developer meeting next week. So thanks everyone. Have a great evening and see you all next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.